Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Hampden Park. Goalless between Scotland and Poland in this friendly. And it has to be said that a bit of a slow start from both sides. I think overall Scotland would have been far the more pleased of the two sides after the first half. Certainly creating a few more chances. That's despite not actually seeing a lot of the ball at times. Poland just very slow to play out from the back and not really creating anything going forward. So it's down to Steve Clarke's side, I think, in this second half, just to try and set the pace a little bit more, put a bit more pressure on this Poland defence. Okay, the second half has now got underway. No changes that I can see at the start of the second half, although there were two enforced changes for Poland during the first half due to injury, as Bednarek now clears the ball down the left-hand side. Good strong header, though, from McTominay, trying to pick out Gilmour. It's now with Krysztof, though, for Poland. He plays it down the left-hand side. A ball over the top now for Piatek to chase. Tierney should get there first. Does get there first, and he does well to turn away from Krysztof Piatek as well. So the Scotland side is Craig Gordon in goal. Back three of Scott McTominay, Grant Hanley and Kieran Tierney. Four across the middle, Nathan Patterson, Billy Gilmour, Callum McGregor and Greg Taylor, with Ryan Christie, John McGinn and Che Adams as the three up front. For Poland, it is Łukasz Skorupski in goal. Looks like a back four now with Matt Cash, Kamil Glik, Jan Bednarek and Arkadiusz Reca. The four across the middle are Piotr Zieliński, Krystian Bielik, Grzegorz Krychowiak and Szymon Żukowski, with looks like it's going to be Reca, Zieliński and Piatek playing just ahead of them. But it's quite hard to work out exactly how Poland are going to be setting up now, with them bringing on a central midfielder to replace the injured centre-back Solomon in the first half. Piatek also came on in the first half for the injured Milik. But ball now back with Skorupski, as it was for long spells in the first half. Poland seeing most of the sort of slow possession playing out from the back in the first half. Their issue is, though, that they didn't really create too much with it, whereas Scotland, able to just patiently pick off possession, actually created a couple of half-decent chances. And the ball now out for a throw to Poland down the right-hand side. Matt Cash just waiting to take it. Just to remind you of the European World Cup qualification results so far. These are all latest scores. It is goalless between Italy and North Macedonia. Portugal lead against Turkey by 2-0. Sweden against the Czech Republic is 0-0, and certainly Poland will be keeping an interested ear out for that, because they play the winner of that game. And Wales still lead against Austria by 1-0. And I'm being told it was a cracker of a free kick from Gareth Bale that had given Wales the lead in that game. But back here at Hampden Park, there were a couple of strong challenges in the first half. Billy Gilmour now hits the deck. Referee says play on. And it's now with Jakub Moder. Feeds a great ball through to Piatek, who's through, and Piatek strikes it, but it's wide of the goal. It was a great ball from Moder to find Krysztof Piatek. I just think he was perhaps a little bit slow in actually running onto this in the first place. Scotland guilty of playing a very, you've got to say, a very disjointed offside line. Hanley was pretty much 3 or 4 yards behind the rest of his teammates. If he was in line, then Piatek would have been miles offside. But in the end, the effort from Piatek, you have to say, goes miles wide. It's not a good effort from him there at all. And the ball just going wide of the goal. Again, Piatek, just like Milik, who he replaced in the first half, these guys have got to take their chances when they get them, because, as I say, they're never really going to get any regular starting places in the Poland 11 with Lewandowski being fit. I wonder whether we will see Robert Lewandowski. He is on the bench this evening, but it might just be a case of preserving him for that game next Tuesday. And Poland will play the winners of Sweden and Czech Republic. Free kick now to Scotland on the halfway line. Strong challenge there from Bielik, going in on Ryan Christie. It's now with Scott McTominay just inside the Scotland half. Square to Kieran Tierney. There's a quick ball in for Christie. Does well to get away from Cash. Then a strong challenge coming in from Bielik. Referee allows play to go on. That's good play there from Taylor to keep the ball alive for Scotland. Going back towards the halfway line now for Kieran Tierney. Hanley over to McTominay down the right-hand side. McTominay is on the run, gets away from Bielik, gets all the way to the edge of the penalty area. Krychowiak then robs him with the ball, slips, but is able to keep possession here for Poland. He then gets away from John McGinn, and if this was I was going to say that should be a yellow card, really. But the referee, and a sort of an acknowledging nod there from McGinn to say, as if, yeah, I understand, ref, if this was a full-on international, a qualifier or a playoff, or indeed a league game, I would expect to get booked for that. But with this being a friendly, the referee just allowing play to go on. It's a bit of a problem here now for Jan Bednarek, the Southampton man, just taking a little bit longer to get into position after this free kick for Poland. It's taken short by Kamil Glik over towards Bielik. Pressing from Scotland straight away. Christie trying to close down, as is Shea Adams. So Glik hasn't got a lot of time here. Goes over towards Bednarek. He's been closed down by McGinn. Ball up towards Moded on the halfway line, but he's been forced to go all the way back towards his own penalty area here with the ball. As Scotland press, it's now back with Skorupski. Over towards Moded, who's still deep here after coming back in the last move. And again, it's just, I think I was hoping for just a little bit more from Poland, really. I think that's... of course, with their new manager and this sort of unusual situation of playing this friendly when they were expecting to play a qualifier initially, a playoff game, just think that there needs to be a little bit more urgency about what Poland are doing here. It's almost like they're sort of quite consciously playing at sort of 50-60% just to try and conserve energy for Tuesday, whereas I'm never sure that's the right attitude in sport. I think you obviously can't go hell for leather in a friendly, but also give it some intensity so that it is a bit more productive. But a strong challenge coming in there on Kieran Tierney. To say the referee has kept his cards in his pocket so far, Mr. Hennessy from Ireland. But we'll see if this has got his attention. But that is silly from Zielinski. He probably deserved a booking for what he did in the first half as well. And he's quite lucky not to have been booked for either. I don't know if the referee is promising himself he's not going to give out a card tonight. Meanwhile, massive goal in Cardiff. Gareth Bale on the score sheet once again. It's Wales 2, Austria 0. And Gareth Bale on 51 minutes, doubling Wales' lead there. A very strong position now over Wales in that game. But still plenty of time to go as Scotland now have this free kick following that foul on Tierney. Ball swung in towards the right-hand edge of the penalty area. It eludes everyone though, and it's quite harmlessly away in the end for a goal kick. Great, good crowd here this evening at Hampden Park. With very strong local support. Just about a sellout, I would say. Looking around, can't see too many empty seats. Good away end as well, with Poland, of course, having a large Polish community, not just in Scotland, but right across the British Isles. I'm sure that some fans have made their way from Poland itself as well. And it's now back with Craig Gordon. 53 minutes gone, independent off-tube studio commentary. It is goalless between Scotland and Poland. Free kick should be going Scotland's way, but referee rightly plays an advantage. And now Gilmour finds Adams, who fires a quick ball down to Patterson, down the right-hand side. Patterson's ball in. That's a good challenge there. Sliding in is Kamil Glik, and straight away turns and tries to get a few instructions out to his players that they need to be closing down a little bit quicker, because Scotland were outnumbered throughout this entire move. At one stage, it's actually double the amount of Poland players that there is to Scotland players, but they were still able to get that ball out towards the right-hand side before Captain Glik slides in. Leading by example there, puts the ball out for a corner. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from this right-hand side off the foot of John McGinn. That's a really good teasing ball. That's going straight towards goal, and Skorupski needs to make a save there to stop that corner kick from going in. It's been played out for a corner in the end, but that was a shot from John McGinn, and it's got so much curl on that. He really does get a lot of loop on that, does John McGinn, but Skorupski pretty much standing underneath his crossbar there, had to palm that away for a corner. It's going to be a corner kick from the left-hand side now. Meanwhile, two players apply their trade in England. McTominay for Scotland and Bielik for Poland. Just getting a bit of a telling off there from the referee to not push and shove. So they walk away from the referee and they're pushing and shoving straight away. But a corner kick's taken low this time. Strike coming in from, I think that was Kieran Tierney this time. Left-footed effort. The ball was rolled to him at the edge of the area. His strike, though, gets a deflection. It's away for a third corner kick in a row here for Scotland. It was Krychowiak coming out there to narrow the angle, and it deflects off him out for another corner. It's going to be Billy Gilmour. More pushing and shoving now inside that 6-yard box as the ball is swung in towards the back post, headed up in the air. Skorupski is out, gets a good punch on that one, and it eventually goes out of play, and it will be a throw to Poland down the left-hand side. So Patterson couldn't quite keep the ball in play. But certainly over the 55 minutes we've seen in this match so far, it's definitely Łukasz Skorupski, the Poland keeper, that's been the busier of the two. Craig Gordon's not really had a save to make, certainly not in terms of shots on goal. A couple of crosses and a couple of quick attacks there from Poland, but they have struggled really to get anything concrete in front of Scotland's goal. It's now with Piotr Zielinski. Back towards the halfway line. It's Glik now to Bielik. Looks like he has joined a back three, so it is a back three for Poland still with Bielik, Glik and Bednarek. And then you've got Kaś, Żurkowski, Krychowiak and Reta as a 4. And then Moder, Zielinski and Piatek as a 3. So Michniewicz not wanting to upset the rhythm, the formation of his side. Despite the fact that although Bielik has played at the back for Derby before, he is more of a midfielder really. As here come Poland now trying to get forward. It's been won back quickly though by the home side. It's played forward to McGregor. McGregor getting towards the penalty area as his run stopped, and then Kaś trying to clear the ball for Poland down the right hand side. He gets charged down by Greg Taylor, and it is out for a throw to the visitors down their right hand side. Kaś is waiting. So looking at the Scotland bench, they've got Zander Clark, they've got Hickey, as well as Lewis Ferguson, Stuart Armstrong, Stephen O'Donnell, Kenny McLean, Liam Kelly, Jack Hendry, Ryan Jack and Jacob Brown, as well as Craig Halkett and Ross Stewart as well. So there are a couple of younger players there on that bench for Steve Clarke, trying to give a couple of players maybe perhaps a little bit more time in an international game. As I say, Poland had forced into making 2 changes already because of injuries in the first half. No movement on that Scotland bench for the time being, as Hanley is taken out there by Piatek. Wins his side a free kick. Frustration there for Piatek. He had a great chance at the start of this second half, and it was a very tame effort that went wide in the end. It's now with Scott McTominay under pressure there from Moder and Piatek, going back towards Grant Hanley. Hanley now to Tierney. Tierney plays this ball forward. It's with, well, it's a good strong challenge there from Kaś. Dispossesses Ryan Christie, but that's great play there from Gilmour. He dispossesses Krychowiak, and then the ball is played in, and then John McGinn, perhaps a little bit too honest for his own good there. The ball is out for a goal kick. Skorupski made contact with McGinn. McGinn was stumbling forward, stayed on his feet, and then couldn't keep the ball in play. He looks to the referee like it's obvious he should be getting a penalty. I mean, I think if he goes down there, would the referee have given a penalty there? We'll see from this replay just how much contact there is with John McGinn. Well, Skorupski's got his hands out. I don't think he makes too much contact. It's certainly not enough to bring John McGinn down. But there was a look of frustration there from John McGinn, perhaps revealing that he would have. I just wonder if he could have gone down, and whether the referee would have considered that as a penalty or not. Looked to me as though it just wasn't enough contact with Skorupski. If McGinn had gone down and made a real theatrical fall, perhaps the referee would have been swung, but the fact that he barely stumbled, it may just mean that there really wasn't enough contact to consider a penalty. Zielinski now for Poland, back towards Glik, square to Bielik, towards Krychowiak, and Zielinski now back towards the halfway line. The visitors just holding on to the ball momentarily, but this is the problem they had in the first half as well, Poland. They didn't really have much possession in the final third. And the possession they've had in the final third in this second half, you could count in seconds so far, really has been very limited, as Kaś's ball forward easily picked off there by Kieran Tierney, but his ball forward is picked off by Bielik. And now Poland trying to push forward here with Jakub Moder going back towards Zielinski. Zielinski just getting away from Callum McGregor, then playing it out towards the left-hand side. He underhit that pass to Reta by a good few yards. And here is Patterson now bringing the ball out for Scotland. He was fouled twice there, I would say, by Reta. It will be a free kick to Scotland now. And Patterson picking himself up. Poland getting ready to make their third change. Looks like this is going to be Sebastian Szymanski getting ready to come on. Former Legia Warsaw player, who is currently playing for Dynamo Moscow. And unlike Grzegorz Krychowiak, he didn't look to leave the Russian league, or at least hasn't done for the time being. Only time will tell whether he will carry on plying his trade in the Russian Premier League. for Dynamo. In the meantime, it is Scotland in possession here down the left with Greg Taylor. His pass is stopped though by Matt Cash. It's kept in play, and here is Moder now going down the right-hand side, trying to skip away from Tierney, but that's good play there, Tierney. And Taylor doubling up on Moder, ready to win the ball back, and then it's Gilmour's clearance, not a very good one, blocked by Cash, and then Moder plays it square to Krychowiak. Krychowiak to Zielinski, plays it first time in, looking for the run of Piatek. That's cleared, and then Piatek crashing into Billy Gilmour. Ball though cleared down the left-hand side, and Skorupski lets this go out for a throw. It will be a throw to Poland. It will be a third change here for the visitors as well, as Szymanski is now ready to come on, and he will be coming on for Grzegorz Krychowiak. An interesting change, really. I would say that Szymanski probably a slightly more attack-minded midfielder than Krychowiak is, so this might mean that they'll ask Zielinski just to sit a little bit deeper now, but Sebastian Szymanski is on the field. Chance now to get pretty much bang on half an hour. We are now at 60, just coming up to 61 minutes gone. Independent off-tube studio commentary from Hampden Park, where Scotland drawing 0-0 with Poland, but Scotland, I would say, looking the more positive of the two sides in terms of trying to get forward. Poland seeing more of the ball, but not really able to develop too much with it. As a ball now down the left here, one for Skorupski to chase, and he's won a throw for his side, which Grant Hanley is absolutely furious about, considering that earlier in this game Hanley was pushed or sort of leant on by one hand from Piatek. He fell over, and that convinced the referee to give him a free kick. I think he was quite surprised that Skorupski pretty much shoved him in the back there and threw him to the ground, and the referee didn't give a free kick. It's going to be a throw to Poland now in quite an attacking position, and Redza has quite a long throw on him. He launches this one towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Piatek that heads it down, but that was more of a pass with his head rather than heading it towards goal. Just got his angle slightly wrong there, and the ball now out for a goal kick to Scotland. In the meantime, we are looking at a couple of Scotland changes by the looks of it. Certainly see that Aaron Hickey is one of the players getting ready to come on. 19-year-old starlet, of course, from Hearts, now playing at Bologna during his second season in Italy. Clearance now up towards the halfway line. It's just bouncing away from Patterson. He knew it was going to be his throw anyway. Takes it quick to Gilmour. Too quick, in fact, and Gilmour wasn't expecting that throw. Plays it back to Patterson. It goes straight out for a throw to Poland now down their left-hand side. And Redza trying to launch this one. No, he changes his mind. Plays it back towards Bednarek in the end. And now square to Glik. This game still hasn't quite kicked on like I was hoping it would do. International friendlies, of course, difficult beast to try and predict sometimes, but this game has just flattered to deceive at times. As here come Poland now down the right with Cash and Zielinski swapping passes. Cash's ball into the box is not far away from finding Piatek. Good work though inside the 6-yard box there from Hanley. Cleared up towards the halfway line, played out for a throw though. Miscontrol there. It's the throw to Poland down the left-hand side. Redza going back towards Bielik now. Over on the right-hand side of defence here. Bielik switching play from right to left. Well, that's a bad ball from him though. Over the head of Redza and out for a throw. We're going to see this double change for Scotland now. It's Aaron Hickey getting ready to come on, as indeed is Stephen O'Donnell. O'Donnell playing for Motherwell now. Enjoyed a couple of seasons back in the and now it's played up towards Shay Adams. He wants a free kick. Referee though not interested. It's one back in midfield though here by Callum McGregor, and Tierney now brings it forward. It's the first time in a good few minutes that Scotland have got near Poland's penalty area. It's now down the left with Taylor, back into McGregor, squared to Gilmour. And then back towards the halfway line as Hanley inside towards McTominay, who slips on the ball, and suddenly it's 2-on-2 as Szymanski brings the ball forward. He feeds it into Piatek. Piatek just checks his run, looks to try and get a shot away himself. It's stopped on the line. That's brilliant from Billy Gilmour. Keeps the game at 0-0, and now it's Szymanski keeping the ball in play here for Poland. He plays a quick ball down the right-hand channel in towards Skorupski. Skorupski then back to Szymanski. Szymanski's ball into the box is headed away by Hanley this time, and kept in play for Poland here by Matt Cash. But top marks there to Billy Gilmour. Had a bit of a quiet game in midfield, but midfielders have got to be everywhere on the field, and on that occasion Billy Gilmour was on the line stopping Piatek's very powerful effort, which had clearly beaten Craig Gordon. That ball was going in had it not been for Billy Gilmour getting his body in the way. The scoreline still at 0-0 as Poland now perhaps with their tails up after that chance. It was all after Scott McTominay slipped though, and it was Piatek and Szymanski up against Hanley and Patterson, and then Gilmour charging back towards his own penalty area, saving the day for Scotland. But in the meantime, Poland have been forced further and further back into their own half. There are 4 Scotland players pressing now as well before the ball is finally played away here by Bednarek. Szymanski's dropped a bit deeper, and now it's Zielinski with a long ball over the top, looking for Krysztof Piatek. He finds him, but Piatek, although he's wagging his finger, the offside flag has gone up against the Poland striker. We'll see here, McTominay just overplays the ball, then slips. Great chance here for Poland. Szymanski feeds the ball into Piatek. He is onside, checks in to get away from Hanley and from McTominay, fires towards goal, and then it's left-footed diving almost block there from Gilmour to stop that going in. Right place, right time there from Billy Gilmour. As I say, top marks to him there, because it looked at one stage as even though he was on the line, that shot might still elude him, but he was able to get his foot in. As double change now for Scotland that I mentioned. Nathan Patterson is on, and Stephen O'Donnell is on in his place. So it's a like-for-like swap on that right-hand side there. O'Donnell on the field now. And as I mentioned, the other player to be coming on was going to be Aaron Hickey, and he has come on to replace Greg Taylor. So it's a pretty shrewd move actually that from Steve Clarke, just to swap his 2 wide men here with 24 minutes to go. And particularly Hickey, of course, such a promising talent for Scotland. Give him a chance to shine in front of the home crowd against what could be a tiring Polish defence now. It's up with John McGinn down the right-hand side, edge of the penalty area here, but he's not been given any wiggle room there. He's been fouled in the end, says the referee, Jakub Moder, with his head in his hands. He can't believe it, but the free kick has been given. I thought he was just a little bit too close there to McGinn. But it has to be said. I mean, would that be given in the Premier League? I think it could be. It's not like it's never been given as a free kick. It wasn't a glaring foul there from Jakub Moder, but at the same time, it's certainly one that the referee, Mr. Hennessy, spotted. And a free kick to Scotland now from the right-hand side. It's going to be the left foot of McGinn. It's an in-swing. Oh, and then Scotland who lead. And it's headed into the back of the net by Kieran Tierney. Great header from Tierney, but it's once again that left foot of McGinn making the chance there for Scotland. Excellent free kick whipped in, and it's just eluded all the Polish defenders. Good strong header there from Kieran Tierney, but as I say, we'll see from the replay, there's no chance of him being offside, absolutely no marking whatsoever. And from Poland's point of view, it'd be quite embarrassing really when you consider how many tall players there are in that Polish defence and in the Polish 11 in general. For Kieran Tierney, who's not exactly famous for being tall himself, is able to just pretty much stand still and just actually crouch down slightly to get towards that header, and headed into the back of the net past Skorupski. So 68 minutes gone. It is Scotland 1, Poland 0. And that's after a long spell of Polish pressure as well. So certainly Steve Clarke will be very pleased that his side have been able to ride that out. And now they are in a strong position here, leading by a goal to 0 with 22 minutes to go. Quick glance at the European World Cup qualifiers that are being played this evening. And looking here, we can see that it's still 0-0 between Italy and North Macedonia. That is a bit of a surprise. I mean, Italy at home to North Macedonia would have really fancied their chances there. But it's still goalless. Turkey have got a goal back in Portugal. It's 2-1 now. Portugal taking a 2-goal lead through Otavio and Diogo Jota. Well, it would be Diogo Jota, who's been in excellent form. Burak Yilmaz with the goal back for Turkey. There's another strong challenge over on the Polish left-hand side. And the referee is not happy here with Arkadiusz Reza. He picks up a yellow card And it just goes through the man. He gets to the ball, but that's not enough these days. His slide is out. That's a really bad challenge, actually. We're looking at it. He already had the ball under his control, and then he raised his foot as well there, Reta. It's almost like he wanted the referee to book him, and he does. Reta becomes the first man in the book this evening. And we're waiting to see this free kick. Looking at the other scores as well, it is still goalless between Sweden and the Czech Republic, and Austria have a goal back now as well in Cardiff. It's an own goal from Ben Davies that gives Austria a lifeline there, so it's not all said and done at the Cardiff City Stadium yet. Meanwhile, here at Hampden Park is another free kick to Scotland from almost an identical position that they scored from. McGinn once again is going to be the provider. Just a little bit less pace on the free kick. In any case, there's a bit of pushing and shoving inside that box, and in the end it's Grant Hanley who's been shoving at Kamil Glik, and in the end he's just having to be calmed down. There is the Poland captain. Just a bit of a push there from Grant Hanley, which seemed to frustrate Kamil Glik there. There's been a little bit of an undercurrent of physicality in this game. Both sides do have some physical players in their team. Certainly is part of Hanley's makeup, but we're just seeing a much better free kick here from Scotland, which is the one that led to the goal. It's a really good header from Tierney as well to position it in the way that he did. Poland have just made their fourth change as well, with Piotr Zielinski off to be replaced by Kamil Grosicki, who had I was going to say not a very successful time, just didn't quite have the time on the pitch that he would have liked when he was in England for a few seasons. Kamil Grosicki, initially with Hull City, before a move to West Bromwich Albion. Never really had too much time on the field for West Brom, just the 22 games in the 3 seasons or 2.5 seasons that he spent there. A few more appearances, certainly a lot more appearances for Hull City, but back now in his native Szczecin, playing for Pogoń, who are fighting near the top of the league, with some big sides in Poland like Legia and Wisła struggling this season. Getting a few surprise teams at the top of the league, but getting back to action here at Hampden Park. Scotland win the ball back. It's a good challenge as well. Referee just pointed to the ball there after Aaron Hickey had won it back on Scotland's left-hand side. Of course, when we return from the international break, just the small matter of Rangers against Celtic at Ibrox on Sunday the 3rd of April. It's a week on Sunday. Big battle here in midfield. Eventually it is Poland that come away with the ball, and Bielik, to be specific, just trying to play away from... He does get the ball away eventually from Gilmour, but then runs straight into Christie, and then it's a bit of a strong challenge there to try and win the ball back there off Ryan Christie, so it will be a free kick to Scotland. Cash doing well initially and running into Christie, and that's a bit clumsy there from Skorupski in the end. Never looked like the referee was going to let that one go. Taken quickly now, and it's back with Scott McTominay down the right-hand side. McTominay inside towards Gilmour. Back over towards the right-hand side. The ball is switched towards the edge of the penalty area, and Cash now playing it back towards Skorupski. Then plays it square to Bednarek. Back to Skorupski, who looks up, thought about playing it long, but again Scotland have got plenty of players forward, and it just means that Poland don't want to clear it long, because there's always a 50-50 chance you're going to lose the ball then. But if you play out from the back and there are 5 Scotland players within 10 yards of your penalty area, just put extra pressure on, and Scotland win the ball back on the halfway line. As a bit of a frustrated smile on the face of the captain, the official captain of Poland, of course, Lewandowski, who was on the bench this evening. Cameras just panned to him momentarily. But it has been a frustrating evening for the Poles. Haven't really got into the game at all in an attack sense, and that must be a bit of a worry. But a long ball now for Grosicki, lets it bounce ahead of him, and that allows McTominay to get there first. And he plays it away now towards O'Donnell. Inside now towards Gilmour. Pressure here from Szymanski, but Gilmour turns away from him and plays it square now to Tierney. Everything's done nice and calm and measured here by Steve Clarke's men in this second half. In this game overall, I would say, barring a couple of moments that slipped from McTominay and a couple of more physical moments, I would say that Scotland have pretty much handled this game very well, whereas Poland, I think, have just struggled to really get into it. Keep constantly glancing at those World Cup qualification results as well, and it is still 0-0 between Italy and North Macedonia, which really would be a shock if Italy were to go out, considering they are of course the current European champions. But I say, stranger things have happened. Sometimes international sides can just fall away. I mean, that's that France team that swept everything at France '98 and then at Euro 2000. The 2002 World Cup, of course, humbled in that opening game against Senegal. Started that amazing Senegal journey, of course, which has now seen so many great players coming into Europe. 75 minutes gone here. It is Scotland 1, Poland 0. Deserved scoreline, I would say, based on how the two sides have played. And it was a very good goal as well. An excellent free kick whipped in by John McGinn, headed in by Kieran Tierney. But here come Poland now down the left with Piatek back to Reta. Reta under pressure there, just holds it up and plays it inside now towards Bednarek. Ever present for Southampton this season is Jan Bednarek, especially now with Yannick Vestergaard having left in the summer. The ball now back with the Southampton man, runs straight into John McGinn, who then runs straight into Bednarek. That's a strong challenge from John McGinn as well. Perhaps a little bit unnecessary. Referee just looking across there. Oh yeah, a bit of a raised foot there from McGinn. Didn't need to do that at all, really. Just a little bit hot-headed there, which is a part of his game, of course. And now, commentator's nightmare. Got to get the older pen and paper ready to try and keep everything up to date on my starting 11 sheet, because now Ryan Christie is off and he is going to be replaced by Stuart Armstrong. So Christie is off and Stuart Armstrong is on. That's one of three changes that Scotland are making right now. Callum McGregor is going off as well, and McGregor is going to be replaced here by Ryan Jack. Ryan Jack is on the field here as well. And the final change is Billy Gilmour getting a good round of applause, and rightly so. He had that excellent block when Poland looked set to score, and he's off to be replaced by Kenny McLean. Of course, teammates this season with Billy Gilmour on loan at Norwich City from Chelsea, picking up high fives all over the bench here for Scotland. Gilmour, and as I say, it was a really good block that has kept Scotland's clean sheet intact. And overall, I think a solid performance from Billy Gilmour. Good performance as well from Callum McGregor. Didn't see as much of him, actually. Just a slightly more defensive role this team, but it just allowed players like McGinn and Christie, and indeed the wide men, Taylor, before he was replaced by Hickey, and Patterson before he was replaced by O'Donnell, allowed them to range forward just that little bit more. Stuart Armstrong now in possession for Scotland down the left-hand side, playing it back now towards Kieran Tierney. And the ball now back with Craig Gordon over towards the right-hand side. Pressure there on O'Donnell. And he just about gets the deflection off Reta Lars, so it will be a throw to Scotland. Just allows them to slow things down. Just looking at the Wales-Austria game, that game are also available on our service. Just looking at the stats there in the second half. 68% possession for Austria, and they've had 8 efforts on goal. Only 2 of them have been off target. Most of the efforts have been charged down, but even so, they have grown into the game, have Austria. Should have been a bit of a worry for Wales, considering they scored early in the second half, and you'd think that the game would just be going their own way. But the job not yet done there at the Cardiff City Stadium. Job not done in Stockholm either was Sweden and the Czech Republic are still drawing 0-0, as indeed Italy against North Macedonia. And that game being played this evening at the Stadio Nazza Barbera in Palermo. Italy perhaps not choosing their sort of first international stadium for this playoff, and that might have affected how the players approach the game as well. Poland have won themselves a free kick about 40 yards out. It's Grosicki's ball into the box, which is headed away. Then there's a strong header coming in from the right-hand side. It's straight at Craig Gordon. No, the referee is going to stop play because there are 2 players down. It looks like it's, I'm trying to see from this angle, I think it's Cash who's down for Poland. And has the Scotland player got up now? I think he looks like he collided with Hickey, climbed onto Hickey, then fell onto him, and the fall actually seems to cause more problems for Cash than it does for Hickey. because the Scotland youngster is back up on his feet now. But Cash really fell quite awkwardly there. And the Aston Villa man still being checked over here. Wait to see whether or not he can play on. It's Kieran Tierney just on our screens now, looking at this goal. There potentially could have been an offside had Zielinski stayed in line with the rest of his teammates. He was about 3 yards behind everyone else and then just allowed Tierney to get on the end of that. That is something that's certainly something that Poland will need to address, is their marking. It has been something that has been an Achilles heel for them for the past 10 years or so, as they have become more of a tournament team. Their attack has been impressive, obviously spearheaded by Lewandowski. Their goalkeepers have been pretty solid, but their defence has always been just that little bit suspect, which means that Poland are a good enough side to get out of qualification, but as I mentioned in the first half, still struggling to become a side that can really have an impact at a tournament. Of course, Scotland have been a side who have had their impacts in tournaments over the years. Still remember the buzz around Euro 96 with that massive England-Scotland game, and of course Scotland very close to qualifying out of that group. Had it not been for the late goal from Kluivert when the Netherlands are being hammered by England 4-0, had Kluivert not scored that to make it 4-1, then I think the goal difference would have meant that Scotland would have actually got out of the group alongside England. But since then, of course, they were at France 98, they were at Euro 2000, and they'll be hoping to be at the World Cup in Qatar later this year. Poland getting ready to make another substitution. It looks like it is going to be Adam Buksa who's going to be coming on. Now applying his trade in the MLS. He started his career in his hometown of Krakow. But in the meantime, it looks as though Scotland have won themselves a corner kick here. Or have they? It looks like the referee might have just allowed play to go on. In fact, it has just been given as a goal kick to Poland in the end. And so we're playing on with the ball now up towards the halfway line. One back here for Scotland by Scott McTominay. He plays it forward now to Stuart Armstrong, who runs straight into Matt Cash, and then the ball played back towards the goalkeeper Skorupski. Skorupski inside now to Cash down the right-hand side. And back in towards Christian Bielik. And now over down the left-hand side for Reto. Tries to get that ball away quickly from O'Donnell and fires one for Kamil Grosicki to chase. But Hanley gets there first. Grosicki actually picks his pocket, takes the ball off him, and then draws the foul. That is a little bit unnecessary there in terms of a free kick. And that was stupid from O'Donnell as well. I don't understand this from a couple of Scotland players this evening. They just seem to be trying to get a reaction from a Poland player. And that was completely unnecessary. It was a foul from Hanley, which was already a bit strong on Grosicki, and then O'Donnell deliberately kicked the ball at Grosicki after the whistle had gone. Again, just seems a little bit petulant there. But Poland making another change in defence. In fact, it's a defender going off to be replaced by a striker. So Jan Bednarek is off, and Adam Buksa is on to replace him. So Buksa on the field now for these final 8 minutes or so, plus a little bit of injury time. The ball now is whipped in, and Gordon doesn't get a particularly confident punch on that. He gets the ball away from his penalty area, so he would argue that he's done enough there. But I say it was just a little bit. I think it just comes off the side as he's trying to, just the side of his hand as he's trying to punch that clear. Just goes off at a bit of a funny angle, but it is a throw to Poland down the right-hand side. Matt Cash launches this one towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It drops to Grosicki, who has slammed that. I mean, that's almost left Hampden Park. That's how high he's hit that over the bar. Really has put his foot through that one. The former West Brom and Hull City man. As we see this punch from Gordon. As I say, it wasn't the best, but the ball does leave his own penalty area, for it was played back in, and then that's a very wayward effort from Grosicki. The ball now back on the halfway line here, and it's played down the middle, but that's over everyone's head and given back to Scotland in a gift, really, there from midfield. I think it was Szymanski trying to volley that one forward, and Craig Gordon now looking to restart play. To say that it has been a very difficult game to gauge at times. I think that overall, as we can see there, Steve Clark and one of his assistants, John Carver, just having a bit of a discussion as to how everything is looking. Can tell you as well that just in the last few moments, Turkey, and more specifically Burak Yilmaz, has missed a penalty in the 83rd minute there. In fact, it was the 85th by the time the penalty was taken. So on 85 minutes, Portugal 2, Turkey 1, and Turkey missing a penalty to go 2-2 in that game. That could prove to be very costly for Turkey. Still goalless between Italy and North Macedonia. Still goalless between Sweden and the Czech Republic. So those two games, as it stands, will be going into extra time and potentially penalties. And there's still Wales leading 2-1 against Austria at the Cardiff City Stadium. So as it stands, Wales will be going through to face the winner of Scotland or indeed Ukraine once that game will be played. There's talk of that being played later, or towards the end of, in fact, after the end of this season. Of course, the situation is subject to change with the ever-changing and very tragic situation going on in Ukraine right now. But it is going to be a throw to Poland now down the right-hand side with Matt Cash waiting to restart play. You can see some Scotland fans getting into the game. Perhaps just that's a little bit too much there, as one of the... in fact, no, I take it back. The steward was actually just taking one of their camera phones so that she could take a picture of all of them. But a bit more of a jubilant atmosphere now at Hampden Park with Scotland having this 1-0 lead. And I think they're good value for it as well. They're just under the cosh a little bit more now in these last few minutes. But barring that clearance off the line, or that block off the line from Gilmour, hasn't really been too much by way of clear-cut chances for Poland, really, and that certainly will be a worry for them, as Scotland getting ready to make another change. And looking at it, I think that was Jacob Brown getting ready to come on. Yeah, originally from Halifax in West Yorkshire, now applying his trade for Stoke City, having started his career at Barnsley. So we'll wait to see him on the field momentarily, but for the time being, it is Scotland in possession down the left-hand side with Hickey. Square towards Kenny McLean now. And now it's with McTominay. Forward to McGinn. He's about 40 yards out. Scoops the ball up, looking at the edge of the area. Headed down there by Stuart Armstrong, but the loose ball is cleared back towards the halfway line. Buxer heads it on for Poland, but there was no one in a white shirt, Poland white shirt, close enough to take advantage of that. And so it's now back with Craig Gordon. Inside now towards Kenny McLean. So McLean looked up. Poland trying to play a slightly higher offside line now, just to restrict any long balls that Scotland may try to play. It's back now with Tierney. Square to McTominay. Up towards Armstrong, fed through towards the edge of the area. It was the right idea to try and play in Che Adams, but the pass was overhit. There's no way this Southampton man's getting on the end of that one. It's now with Kamil Glik. Back towards his goalkeeper Skorupski. Long clearance from him over the halfway line, headed forward by McTominay. It's now with Stephen O'Donnell, as well, to just check his run to get away from Grosicki. Played inside now to Che Adams. Adams under pressure, but still able to get the ball back towards Grant Hanley. Hanley now towards McTominay. Good ball from McTominay, well controlled on that right-hand side as well by Ryan Jack. And now McLean with an early ball down the left-hand side. Scotland trying to get something going here, although disappointing from Hickey. Hickey, I haven't seen as much of him getting forward, although in fairness to Hickey, Scotland haven't really had too many chances to go forward since they've taken the lead. They've just been quite happy to try and stifle what Poland are doing. But Hickey with his trusty left foot would like to be able to get forward as a strike from the edge of the area from Ryan Jack. It's a big deflection of Reta, and then just trickles through towards goalkeeper Skorupski. So we're into the last 90 seconds of regulation time here at Hampden Park. It is still Scotland 1, Poland 0. Kieran Tierney giving Scotland the lead with a header from a John McGinn cross. It was an excellent free kick from McGinn, who was actually very close to scoring direct from a corner kick earlier in the second half, with Skorupski making a last gasp save to stop that one going into the back of the net. The goal for Scotland coming on 68 minutes from Kieran Tierney. We are into the last minute of regulation play now. And just a quick monitor of the scores. Still no changes. So it's still goalless between Italy and North Macedonia and Sweden and the Czech Republic. As Jake Brown now finally getting a chance to come on. He's been waiting very patiently as Jake Brown, but he is now ready to come on here for Che Adams. Hasn't had too much by way of service in this game. Certainly can't say that he's missed a clear-cut chance, really, Che Adams. But certainly made a nuisance of himself on a couple of occasions, trying to put pressure on that Polish defence. Here's a free kick to Poland now. It's just by the centre circle, inside the Poland half. Inside the Scotland half, I should say. But Scotland have played a very high offside line, just to make it that bit more difficult. The ball is clipped towards the edge of the area. It is headed on by Kamil Glik, but quickly cleared back into midfield. And Retza trying to keep the ball in play, but unable to on this occasion, and it is out for a throw. We're into injury time. There will be 3 minutes of it, as confirmed by our fourth official. So not too long to go in this game now. And in fairness, it's been a while since Poland have really threatened Craig Gordon's goal. So I think that as it stands now, unless something happens out of nothing here for the visitors, I would say that Scotland look pretty good for their win in this international friendly. Although just as I say that, there's a little bit of a commotion inside the Scotland half. For just a little bit slow at clearing the ball, and in the end, Hickey is fouled to win his side a free kick. That just allows the Scotland players to take the sting out of that last bit of Poland press. And it's now taken short here with Ryan Jack going back towards Kieran Tierney. And he then plays it back towards Gordon, cleared up towards the halfway line and volleyed up in the air by Scott McTominay. It's Matt Cash's ball forward now, and it's down. In fact, there's an offside flag there against Piatek. That's why play has been stopped. Camera now focusing on Czesław Michniewicz, the Poland manager, as I mentioned at the start of the game. He's not everyone's favourite choice, but then that, of course, was created by circumstance. Poland did have a national team manager in Paulo Sousa, who decided to go after a club appointment just after the World Cup qualifying campaign had ended. So I suppose you could say he did give his employers at least a few months' notice before the World Cup qualifiers, before the World Cup playoffs, I should say. But it's not ideal in the way that it's been handled. The Polish press weren't too impressed with Paulo Sousa, or indeed his style of play. I'm not so sure that he got the best out of these Poland players. But then I think, as is often the case with a lot of national teams, I think the Polish press probably expect a little bit too much of the national team. It's always just that assumption that if there's a couple of wins or a qualification, that automatically means that it's a well-beating side. But that's certainly not the case. Scotland now putting a bit of pressure on here in these final minutes. That's a great ball out towards Hickey on the left-hand side. His cross deflects off Cash, who lets the ball go out for a goal kick. Yes, it is a goal kick. I think both sets of players were looking. I can tell you there has been a goal in Palermo, and it is on 92 minutes, and it's Italy 0, North Macedonia 1. So that is a real shock. The European champions could be heading out of the World Cup 8 months before it's due to start. That really would be a shock. And it's looking like that's going to be the case as well. Just looking at the stats from that game, it certainly looks as though Italy have dominated. 31 attempts on goal from Italy. Only 5 of them have been on target, with Macedonia having 4 efforts on goal, and 2 of them have been on target. As now a long ball goes through towards the edge of the penalty area, and Gordon comes out, and is this going to be a penalty? I think it is. The referee has pointed to the spot, and with just 15 seconds of injury time left in the 93 minutes, Poland have won themselves a penalty. That is soft as far as I can see. It's Piatek, and he takes a dive there. I don't think there's any contact with Craig Gordon at all. I don't think that's a penalty, but it has been given as one. Say there's no VAR in an international friendly, so there'll be no way of correcting Mr. Hennessy. The penalty has been given. Kieran Tierney's the last one to leave the box because he's a little bit upset, considering, of course, that he thought he'd scored a winner for Scotland this evening. And now Krysztof Piatek with a great chance to get Poland an equaliser, albeit an undeserved one, really, in terms of I don't think it's a penalty. Didn't think there was enough contact, really, to suggest that it should be a spot kick, but the referee has given it. So it's Piatek against Gordon. We're over the injury time, so this is going to be the last kick of the game, you would imagine now. Piatek steps up, bit of a dancing run-up, and he sends it down the middle. Gordon dives to the right. Piatek's penalty goes down the middle, and Poland have an equaliser 4 minutes into injury time. just means that in terms of the record books, it will be a friendly that Poland have drawn in Scotland this evening rather than lost. But in terms of style points, in terms of building towards a World Cup playoff game in just 4 or 5 days, Poland haven't impressed me at all this evening. I have to say that. It's not been an impressive debut from Czesław Michniewicz. He's very happy to see that penalty go in. But overall, I think he would have to agree that his side weren't really at the races this evening. I'm looking at this replay again. I've got to say that it's the way that Gordon comes out that I think convinces the referee, but there's definitely no way that was a penalty. And we're going to get a kick-off here, but I'm assuming that's only so the referee can end the game. Steve Clarke shaking his head, and I don't blame him. His side, good value for a win this evening. We have restarted play. I'm not sure where this time has come from, because Poland won their penalty with 10 seconds of injury time on the clock. So waiting to see how much time the referee wants to add on to the 5 minutes of injury time that we've had now. Can tell you that it's gone to extra time now between Sweden and the Czech Republic. And they're into the 6th minute of injury time between Italy and North Macedonia. And indeed, Portugal are now 3-1 up against Turkey. And it's all over. Meanwhile, it's all over here at Hampden Park. And a very frustrated Scotland squad. We can see there Steve Clarke and indeed a couple of his players very unhappy with that penalty decision in the last seconds. But it has finished here at Hampden Park. Scotland 1, Poland 1. From myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, thank you very much. And do join us again soon.